What up? What up? What up, good people? On this lovely, lovely Good Friday for us Canes fans, the day after uh stu- just a great game. Both sides, both teams, in my Rasheed Wallace voice, both teams played hard. You feel me? Both teams, both teams, both teams played hard. It was a hell of a game. Tip my hats off to Ole Miss. They played. They played like champions. You know what I'm saying? They didn't back down. You know, they stood toe to toe 12 rounds with our Canes. You feel me? With our Canes. I'm all tripping. Here we go. I'm all discombobulated with our Canes. But there's a couple things a couple things that I want to discuss real quick. I know this is a prompt to a black thought. Like, yo, I know y'all ain't seen the storm warning only about a couple times this season, but yo, life been lifing, for myself and for my brother Groove, who's a father now. So, things have been going on. But we're definitely gonna try to pump out some shows leading up to the national championship games just to get ourselves, back in the algorithms. And we know we got a bunch of Storm Warner fans that are, that's been missing us. But a couple things. I was watching ESPN, and I respect Louis Riddick, love him, love his commentary. Think he should be a GM. And they were talking about the last play of the game. Was it a PI? Wasn't a PI? And when you watch the game, they give you a bunch of different views, right? So they show you where, yes, O'Connell did have him here. That's why I teach my DBs and my son in particular. Like, I used to train them at an early age with boxing gloves so they don't get in the habit of grabbing. You know what I'm saying? DBs nowadays, they get into this habit of grabbing. So the receiver, when you look at it from an other angle, they showed last night the game, the receiver had O'Connell here, and O'Connell had him, up here. So they're both grabbing each other. So who do you call it on? So that's why it was a no call. So like the Get Up crew, where they were saying it was definitely PI, and and then the play on the Jabari Antoine, Louis Riddick was like, yo, that's going to be called a PI all the time. Well, that's not true, Louis Riddick, because Ole Miss DBs was grabbing and holding all night and didn't get called for a PI until late in the game. One for the face mask and then one where Chris Graves, another clearly PI, they had no choice but to throw it. But they was holding all night long. Them DBs was holding all night long. Tony Taka, what's going on? Brother Murray, what's happening? Parlay Room, how you doing? Coming in here with me on this Friday morning. I appreciate you guys for showing the love. Really do. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. You know what I'm saying? Let's get this Storm Warner, A Black Thought. Let's get this joint back in the algorithms. You know what I'm saying? Because when we get up here, we give y'all that real uncut filter. You know what I'm saying? And shout out, just shout outs to everybody that's covering our squad, doing their thing as well. But if we gonna call a spade a spade, real talk, right? They DBs was holding and committing PIs all night, right? Another thing, let's move it up to the trenches. The reason Messidor and Bain couldn't get off like they normally were because the offensive line was holding all night long. And the referees wasn't throwing it. They were holding all night long on Bain and Messidor. And the referees were not throwing the flag. So my thing is, like, I get it. ESPN, y'all have an agenda you're trying to spread because y'all so SEC favored, right? So you want to get up here. Now you want to act like you want to diminish Miami and talking about, well, they should have had one more play. Well, guess what? Yo, if Miami would have, if our DBs would have caught them 4 picks, Ole Miss is not even in the game. Think about that. If Miami, if our DBs or defensive players, should I say, because Dylan Day, if he gets that first interception right before halftime, Ole Miss doesn't get 3 points. If Wesley gets that interception, I don't know if they scored on that drive, but that's a possession that we take from them. If Jacoby Thomas gets that interception, that's another possession that we take from them. And if O'Connell gets that interception, that's another possession that we take from them. That's 4 possessions, you know what I'm saying, that we allowed them another chance, and on a couple of them, they wind up scoring, right? Exactly. Keelan Marion had a hell of a game. He definitely balled out. Shouts out to Keelan. He balled out. You know, and before I finish, you know, I want to give a shout out to Keelan Marion, Carson Beck, Ahmad Moten. Everybody better give Ahmad Moten his just due because he played like a warrior last night. He talked his way back onto that field, playing pretty much on one foot. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad we got 10 days off to get everybody healthy. You know, just shout out to the whole team. I can't just single out certain players because everybody played last night. Everybody did their job, right? So shout out to the whole team, the coaching staff for getting these young men prepared. And I hope this, for some people, that narrative, right, with Mario is starting to come into his own as a game day coach. You know what I'm saying? He's starting to come into his own. And just like the team has grown up over the last 2-3 months as a team, I think Mario has stepped up as a game day coach since we lost that game against SMU. He done stepped up, and shouts out, you know, kudos to, you know, to our coach. And you know, and it takes a real coach, a real man to admit that he's lost his way and forgot what it actually meant and mean to be a Miami Hurricane player, and he had to go back and look at old game footage from when he was playing and so forth and so forth, just to remember what it really means to be a Miami Hurricane football player. And shouts out to Coach. Shouts out to you, Coach, for that. And, you know, but back to these referees. It was going one-sided all game. It was going one-sided in favor of Ole Miss. There were several PIs on our receivers that were not called. Period. The targeting on the target on Malachi, it was targeting, right? One, he was a defensive player, in my opinion. He didn't get to make a football move. And the dude, he didn't launch, but it was forcible contact, head to head, right? On a defensive player. Defensive player means Malachi was not able or allowed to make a football move, you know, catch and turn the field, whatever. They said there was no targeting. Lucas was going to make the tackle. It's not his fault that the dude was falling down. His strike point is his strike point. Now, once the receiver is going down, he falls into his strike point. That's when his shoulder hit his helmet. I don't understand. He didn't launch. He didn't leave the ground at all. So, once again, it's the referees in their favor, right? And then the play with Malley made that crazy catch. The rule is if you get your toes down first, right? If I'm not mistaken, if you get your toes down first, you're in, no matter what your heel does after that, unless it's simultaneously. I don't know. That could have went either way, but I knew it wasn't going to go in our favor. Now, moving to that last play of the game that I opened up the show with. Did Ethan O'Connell have hands on the receiver? Yes, he did. I'm not going to sit up here and say he didn't when he did, no matter how much of a Kane fan I am, right? But 2 positions I'm always going to be critical of. DB and running backs. Why? Because I play both positions and I train both positions, right? So I train my DBs with boxing gloves or some type of mitts so they can't grab. Too many DBs at every level, high school, college, and I can say youth ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, AYF and Pop Warner, they all grab. They all grab. From there to high school to college to pros, everybody grabs. Trust your technique. Use your feet. Trust your technique. Use your feet so you can be in place. He didn't have to grab him. Ethan didn't have to grab him. All he had to do was just run with him. Stay with him. Stride for stride and run with him. And when the ball's up in the air, go make a play on the ball. You don't have to grab. But The receiver had Ethan right here. That's why Ethan failed, because the receiver pulled him down. Yes, Ethan was up on him like this, but the receiver grabbed him down. So therefore, and if y'all was watching the game last night, you heard the guy, because Chris Fowler and Kurt Herbstreit asked them, well, what do you see? And I forgot the definition of the term that the guy used, but I guess it was like equal contact or whatever. I'm trying to sum it up. But they both had each other. So therefore, it's a no call. You let it go. You know what I'm saying? You let it go. And they had to let it go because they was letting Ole Miss DBs grab and touch and do all that all game. Blatant, grabbing the back of the jerseys. Y'all watched the game. Y'all saw it. You know what I'm saying? So wide receiver at hand. I said yeah, exactly. I said that. The wide receiver, Tony, I said that. The wide receiver had Ethan just like this. So I mentioned that. I did mention that, Tony. Yeah, I mentioned that. So the game was awesome, right? The game was awesome. Unfortunately, the referees almost made it sour grapes. Max, what's up, brother? But y'all do notice Ole Miss O-line didn't get called for one holding all game, I believe. Their offensive line didn't get called for not one penalty, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody in the chat, please tell me if they got called for a holding penalty. And if they did, it wasn't many. I mean, they was holding Ruben Bain and Messidor like you grab on, like you hug your woman or you hug your child. Like it was ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? And it was pretty much, it was across the whole interior. They was holding like this. It was egregious. But Ole Miss fault. Dawson, I remember, somebody was talking about the trick plays and stuff. I don't have a problem with trick plays. It's a part of the game. I have a problem with when you call the trick play. Like sometimes, like for instance, when we did the Malley Cat, right? I don't think we need to do that. Just run the ball. We're killing them on the ground. Just run the ball. We didn't need to run the Malley Cat. But if you're gonna do the Malley Cat, and I agree with that. Yes, he is. I do agree with that. I agree with you. He definitely is. He definitely is. But if you're going to call the Malley Cat, right? At least have Shamar Brown or Fletcher in the backfield and give it an RPO look. So now the defense has to respect once Malley sticks that ball out there and put it in the gut or Fletcher or Brown. Either that defensive end is going to crash because he's going to crash down to stop the run, and then Malley can slip out the back door, or he going to try to play it honest, and then Malley can give it to one of them running backs. Don't just have Malley back there by himself. And I know what people are going to say, well, Black, if you know football, the center got beat. That's what caused that play to not be successful. Yeah, I know that. And I do know football. I do know. I saw Brockemeyer get blown up. But guess what? If you had a running back there and you ran RPO, the dude getting beat across the face would never make the play because he got beat going to his right. We could run it right up underneath him. Or Malley pulls it and goes the opposite way. See how that works? You see how that works? So I don't have a problem with trick plays. I have a problem with when you running them, when we're killing them on the ground, killing them. Fletcher, Brown. Just give it to one of them. Let's get the first down, then try a trick play, right? But at some point, you got to be able to just straight up dial something up, and shout out to the receivers. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the receivers. I hope Lofton is okay. Great catch, great hit, great catch. That's football. I hope he's well. I think he'd be all right to play in the Natty. But man, Beck was Joe Cool tonight, yo. Beck was Joe Cool tonight. You know what I'm saying? He was Joe Cool, and he was surgical. He was real surgical. But when I shout out the whole team, but I am gonna give one guy. I'm gonna give him props. I want to say the true freshman, Jabari Antoine, I believe his name is, for him just to come off the bench in that moment and the way he played, right? Even though he got called for a PI, cool, I get it. But the way he played up in them receivers' faces, that close cover 1, cover 0 type technique, press man technique, and didn't waver, was cool. Yeah, he made one mistake on the back end on that touchdown honestly, I think Jacoby Thomas should have took the inside guy and Jabari could have came over the top on that tight end, but I don't know what the defensive call was. So I can't crucify neither one of them young kings for that. But Jabari played well, and that all goes to probably goes to our development. Our coaches are not only they're good recruiters, but they're great developers, right? Just look at what D. Lou and Jay Taylor has done for the defensive line and the growth all these guys have taken. Y'all notice at some point in that game, Bain and Messidor wasn't in the game. It was Lightfoot and Stroggins. You see what I'm saying? When Moulton went down for a little bit, it was Blunt, Scott, and Blay in there. So the development is on a different level now. You know what I'm saying? So now we can get football, we can get certain guys who aren't high star guys, but they play on a level or two above what their ranking says they are. And just because they rank and say they're 3-star don't mean they are. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they was the cats that don't go to camps. You know what I'm saying? They don't go to camps. They don't go do all of that. They just play football. They're football players. Give me football players. You know what I'm saying? And, the young men, they battle, bro. You got to think, we've been on the road for a month. We've been traveling for a month. Now they get home, they get rest for 10 days, and we get to play at home. We don't got to travel. The Natty is at home, in our home stadium, in our backyard. So, but it was just a great game, man. It was a great game. I think we lose Lucas for the first half or part of the first half. Some technique things he needs to clean up, but I ain't even here for that right now. None of that matters. He still played good enough up until the point where he got robbed on that bad targeting call. Yeah, I ain't even here to but y'all do notice, right? The past 2 weeks, our defensive players of the game has been in the secondary. Keontae Scott and Jacoby Thomas. It's, bruh, what's happening right now is setting our program up for the next however long Mario is here. Because we all know what type of individual, what type of man, what type of coach Coach Mario is, right? We all know, right? And his unwavering tenacity to how he looks at things, especially from a coaching standpoint, recruiting and getting back to work. He said that last night on the podium, like, yo, we gotta get back, and I'm waiting to get date workout 1 in. Like, he's already thinking ahead, and we know what he is in recruiting. So I don't see us having a dip in player acquisition and player in talent, right? It's only up from here. It's only up from here. Yes, we do need some linebacker help after this year, but Popo and Torrey and West played, they played a hell of a game. I think we had maybe that you can see just from watching, really one big hiccup. You know what I'm saying? We really had one big hiccup at that position. But after that, it was corrected, and that certain player, played pretty good. So yeah, but we're definitely gonna need some more bodies in that room. Just like at every other position, you want depth, bro. You know what I'm saying? When you want depth. So when you just think in case like when Ahmad Moulton went down, we didn't miss a beat because you had Scott, you had Blade, you had Blunt. You know what I'm saying? When Messidor and Bain had to come out for a little bit, you had Stroggins, you had Lightfoot. And we didn't even see Hayden Lowe yet. And everything they've said about him is that dude is certified. So we ain't even seen him yet. So now you throw him into the mix this upcoming season and going through, spring ball and stuff like that. And mixed in with any other player acquisitions that we may get from the portal and the guys that are on the team now currently practicing that we just signed in that recruiting class. And that's another thing that's big, that the majority of our class, or not a whole class, signed early in practicing, bowl practices. They're getting that experience. They're seeing this game up close. They're recognizing the moment and like, visualizing themselves. When I'm on this stage, this is how I got to perform. And to see all of them legends at the game last night, we know Mike Irvin been at every game. So from the Irvins to the Lewises, to the Edgerrin James, to the Andre Johnsons, to the Cam Wards, to the Calais Campbells, to the Antrell Rose, to the, I think it was DJ Williams, Greg Olson, trying to think who else was there that I saw. Lamar Thomas, Gino Toretta, Eric Winston, just to name a few guys, like, legendary guys who's been there. And like Michael Irvin said in the first 30 for 30, they made a pact. It's your duty to come back and impart wisdom in them guys. And that's what Mario has allowed them to do. You know what I'm saying? And when you come to the sideline and you see them dudes and they high-fiving you and they bigging you up, like, come on, man. Come on now. If you're not a player and that don't give you chills, and you won't go out there and put on for them dudes, that you done watched in the league, do their thing, and now they on your sideline watching you perform for their university that they helped build to get to where it is. Come on. And your coach was one of them dudes? Yeah, and your D-line coach was one of them dudes at this university. That speaks volumes, bro. That speaks volumes. Now, does it have an effect on win-loss in these games? Maybe. And maybe not. But it shows every young man that's either in the portal now and considering Miami, or in high school that's considering Miami, that when Miami players speak of a brotherhood and a true brotherhood, it was on display. And it's been on display all year. Mike and a few others been there every game. But last night showed you, when we come out, it's a star-studded affair with guys that a bunch of gold jacket dudes and a bunch of dudes that's going to be gold jacket dudes. So it just proves to every young man that's thinking about Miami in the portal, in a high school young man, that Miami's a brotherhood. And when you stop playing for Miami, the brotherhood that membership doesn't end. It's a lifelong brotherhood, period. Lifelong brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? No matter what, But last night, man, had me on. Look, last night I had butterflies all night. I was telling my two sons, like, this is how I feel when I'm watching y'all play. Like, this is how I feel when I'm watching y'all play. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing I can do. I can't help you. I can't. I'm at the mercy of the game, right? I'm at the mercy of the game, of the football guys. There's nothing I can do. When I played, I had butterflies up until that first contact. And then boom, it was over. I can kind of control a little bit in the game, whatever. But being on the outside looking in, and like I tell my sons, I can't help y'all. Only thing I can trust is trusting my tools, my knowledge, my training that I injected in you, that y'all gonna take it to the field. That's it. That's how I felt last night watching the whole game. You know what I'm saying? Watching that whole game, and and I'm sitting there, and my hands are shaking, right? My hands are shaking, my palms are sweaty, and I'm shaking my hands, and because I'm invested. I'm in it. You know what I'm saying? I'm in it. Once you're a baller, you're always a baller, no matter what. Once you're a baller, you're always a baller. You know what I mean? And it ain't no shots, but if you've never been in the moments, if you've never been in them huddles, you know what I'm saying? You just not gonna understand. You know what I mean? And like last night, I was just the nerves was working overtime. So I could just imagine how the coaches were. Players play. You know what I'm saying? Players are probably nervous before the game, warm up, coin toss, all this other stuff. But once the ball's kicked off and you get that first contact, that all of that goes. It subsides, and now you just in the game. It's time to ball. It's time to battle, right? You know what I'm saying? But for fans, for us, you know what I'm saying, it's nerve-wracking. And like for me, like I said, my sons, we was watching the game. I was like, this is how I felt watching y'all play, or how I feel when I'm watching y'all play. You know what I'm saying? Like the nervousness never subsides until after the game. Never subsides until after the game, win or lose, right? So, but always respect your opponent. But it seemed like, there was a narrative. It seemed like, the Cinderella story. You know what I'm saying? The Cinderella story, and woe is me, Ole Miss, because Lane Kiffin left. Coaches leave all the time, B. Coaches leave all the time, B. And I know you're gonna say, but Black, nobody leaves in the middle of a championship run. Maybe you're right, but coaches leave all the time, B. You know what I'm saying? But that's why you got a whole staff, and they had coaches that's been on the staff all season that coach tonight. So, hey, it's a good story, but so is Miami. You know what I'm saying? Miami's a better story because nobody wanted Miami there in the first place. You know what I'm saying? You had Joey Galloway damn near crying, almost to tears damn near, when the selection committee selected us as the 10th seed. He went on this, Notre Dame should be in there. Shut up, dude. We're in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, we get it. You don't like Miami, but you're going to sit up here and say that you do, but you really don't. And sometimes when you watch these games, like these commentators, they're all for Miami being back until and when I say back, being relevant in what we are now, right? Until we actually get there. And now we're on that stage and we got to play your team, your favorite team, or play somebody in your favorite conference, right? Then the narrative switches. Now you more aligned with the Cinderella story because Miami's playing a team in your favorite conference now. You feel me? The narrative shifts. You know what I mean? So a lot of people wanted Miami to lose. They ain't gonna tell you that, but they did. They did. But it's a Cinderella story for Miami too, right? We lost to Louisville. We lost to SMU, but it's not what them teams did to us. It's what we didn't do. You know what I'm saying? Like Ole Miss, this game was close, not because of what Ole Miss did. It's because of what Miami didn't do. Period. We dropped 4 interceptions. Exactly. A media narrative. Exactly. We dropped 4 interceptions, right? We dropped 4 picks. And I know I said that back to back, right? Crazy. I didn't mean that. But let's say we don't drop those. Those are 4 possessions. I think 3 of them they got points off of. Just take those points off the board. Take those points off the board. If we don't have 2 false start penalties that kill drives, right? And maybe a bad play call that got us a sack and took us out of field goal range. Like, honestly, this game is not as close as it was. But guess what? Hindsight's 2020. Can't change that. Can't go back and we can't go back in time and we catch those 4 picks. Can't go back in time and we don't have the false start penalties. All we can do is move ahead and fix it going forward. And that's what they did in the game. And that's what I'm pretty sure they're going to pay attention to detail leading up to the national championship game, no matter who we play, right? But the national media, they all say college foot, and I ain't gonna say everybody, because Coach Nick Saban, when you watch his commercials, right, especially that hotel commercial, you could, like, Nick got this weird, funny sense of humor. And me and my oldest son, we would talk. I was like, I said, I would have loved to play for Nick Saban. You know what I'm saying? Like, he gets up, he tells it straight, right? And he's been saying it all along. If Miami gets into the playoffs, they will be the scariest team in the playoffs. He said it. Nobody wanted to listen to him. Like, y'all listen to Coach Saban about everything else. But now that he's talking about Miami, y'all don't want to hear that, right? They don't want to hear that. And another cat that ride for Miami is Desmond Howard. You know what I'm saying? That brother, you know what I'm saying? I used to watch Desmond Howard when I was in high school, 1991. You know what I'm saying? I wore the towel on the side of my on the side because Desmond Howard wore a towel. You know what I'm saying? I'd strike the Heisman pose in the game because Desmond Howard did that when he returned that punt. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Desmond Howard. Always has, always will be. But he keeps it 100 on Miami. And Desmond Howard has been talking up Miami for a very long time. Before Mario was here, you know what I'm saying? Before Mark Richt, he's been talking up Miami ever since he's gotten a job at ESPN, you know. But Coach Saban said it. If Miami gets into these playoffs, they're going to be the most feared team, or team that you don't want to see. And it's led to be true, right? It's been true up until this point, right? We've done everything we're supposed to do. You know, you got cats who didn't want us in the game. You know, they didn't want Miami in. This, so forth. You know, they didn't want Miami. They didn't think we should make it. They know the Dame should have made it. You know, since when do head-to-head not matter? Since when does head-to-head not matter? Right? So I'm gonna ask y'all. I'm gonna ask y'all a question. Everybody thought Foreman was gonna beat Ali, right? Everybody thought Foreman was better than Ali. They were gonna destroy Ali. He destroyed Frazier. He's destroying everybody he went up against. But when head-to-head, when he went up against Muhammad Ali, and Muhammad Ali, the late great Muhammad Ali, knocked him out, is Ali better? Or is it, well, Ali used the rope-a-dope and Foreman got tired, that's why he won? Like, I wish my brother Groove was here because he's the boxing guy. I mean, I watch boxing. I followed it for many, many years, watching with my father. But one thing I know, in boxing, you got a game plan, just like any other sport. And Ali's game plan was like, yo, I'm going to lean on these ropes because it's legal. I'm going to allow you to tire yourself out, but I'm still going to be pop-shotting you the whole fight. Pow, pow, talking to you. Bang, bang. Yeah, bang, bang. Now you're breathing all heavy, and I hit you with that one crucial shot. Bing, and I got you all discombobulated. Bing, bing, bing. You're out. Head-to-head, Ali won, right? Head-to-head, Ali won. So that means Ali's better, right? That means Ali is deserving of the heavyweight championship, right? Period. So Miami beat Notre Dame head-to-head. It does not matter when they played the game. Doesn't matter when they played the game. You play to win the game. In the words of Herm Edwards, you play to win the game. It doesn't matter when the game is played. Win the game. Because I can guarantee you, the shoes on the other foot, they would be saying, well, Notre Dame won the head-to-head. So why is Miami complaining? But since Miami won the head-to-head, it was, well, that was a totally different Notre Dame team. It was the beginning of the season. What y'all failing to also realize is this. That was a totally different Miami team also. That was in the beginning of the season also. And what they said, well, they played against a brand new quarterback. Well, y'all do understand that Carson Beck is a new quarterback who didn't practice all spring, really. He didn't practice all spring, so he didn't throw no passes. He didn't get cleared until the summer, coming off an injury. But Miami doesn't get that luxury. You know what I'm saying? Miami doesn't get that luxury. We never have, we never will. And I don't think I want us to. I love being the underdog. I love being overlooked to a degree. You know what I'm saying? By the national pundits. You know what I mean? But it's ironic. Even leading up into this game, it was all about how is Miami defense going to slow down this Ole Miss offense? How is Miami defense going to stop this Ole Miss offense? Well, from watching the game, we had no chance really to extort our dominance with pressure and sacks like we've done these past couple games because their O-line was holding all game and the referees wouldn't call it. But one thing that they didn't say at all from the coverage that I watched, no one talked about how is this Ole Miss defense going to stop this Miami's offense. No one talked about that from what I've seen. Now, if it's stuff out there with people, the national pundits, the CBS Sports, there's them cats over there that was talking about Ole Miss is going to beat Miami because Carson Beck, Miami offense can't score. Eat crow. Eat crow. Eat crow. But nobody talked about how is this Ole Miss defense going to stop Miami's offense. Nobody talked about that. Nobody talked about that. How is that defense going to stop our offense? No, see what I'm saying? It was all about Trinidad Chambers and that Ole Miss offense, which is good. Yes, it's good. But guess what? If our defensive front, if our D-line was allowed to eat and given a little help, just with some calls, not help, but holding calls, because they was holding Messidor and Bain all night. Yeah, you're right. You saw me, Max. I caught myself, because in the words of, some great master teachers, sometimes a man curses because he can't find the true words to express himself. And I definitely believe I'm a man that can definitely find the words to express myself without being vulgar. Sometimes I just want to say it, so whatever. But, 9 or 10 times I can definitely find the words to truly express myself. But I did I caught myself. I showed some discipline right there. But the referees were allowing their O-line to hold all night. And when y'all go back and watch the game and rewatch the game, because when I went back and I watched the game and I watched part of it, it was egregious. It was terrible. Left tackles, they got their arm up here under Messidor and Bain's neck, and they like this, like, yo, help. No flag, no nothing. So, they're pulling the receivers from the back like this because they beat Chris Graves was getting fricasseed out there. He was grabbing and holding. Like, yo, come on, but the referees don't call that. But you got these cats on ESPN want to get up and complain about that last play call. It should have been a no call because the wide receiver was grabbing our DB too, right here. So, yeah, it's a no call, period. And don't compare it to the NFL because DBs in the NFL get called for far less. Some of these flags they call on the DBs in the NFL are strictly egregious. It's like, yo, you can't blow on a receiver without you can't on a receiver without getting a PI call. So don't compare college to the NFL refereeing because the NFL refereeing when it comes to DBs and receivers is at an all-time low. It's the worst in the game's history. Period. That's why I respect the Randy Moss. The Jerry Rices, because he played in the time when you can beat up a receiver all the way down the field. Like, yeah, in them receivers that played back in that era. Randy Moss, T.O., Michael Irvin, all them dudes, Chris Carter, all them cats that played back in that era. And what they had to endure as far as getting off of press and all this other stuff, right? But they said they wanted Miami back at the top of echelon of college football. right? They all said college football is a lot better when Miami is winning. Well, we here now. But y'all narrative on Miami is still the same. Y'all still underestimate us. You still don't truly give us our props, you know. But it's okay because we're not in the SEC or the Big Ten, right? You know, your two favorite conferences. You know, will that narrative change if we in conference realignment? If we get into one of them conferences, probably the Big Ten, is the narrative going to change for Miami? If we go to the Big Ten and start knocking them over the head, it may get worse because now we're going into one of y'all favorite conferences, putting foot to tail on some of y'all favorite teams. Who knows? I don't know. At this point, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? We're in the ACC and we getting ready to play in the national championship in 2 weeks. So I don't bump all of that. You know what I'm saying? Forget a Galloway, forget a Callaway, forget a whoever. We in the Natty. You feel me? We in the Natty. Forget all that other stuff you heard. We playing for the national championship. And I'm going to give myself and my little big brother, because he's taller than me, Negus, props, because at the beginning of the season in a Discord, we said Miami was going to go to the national championship. But I've been saying that all the time. Me and my brother Groove's like, yo, 10 wins is the standard. National championship is the standard. So I've always said that, period. I've always said that. During the Mark Rick era, the golden era, Randy era, I've always said that. Low national championship is the standard, period. That's what I said. So I've been said that. But this year, I said that, period. Me and my man Negus. So we're here now, and we're at home. And we're at home. And we're in South Florida. So whoever we play, I come from the north. And don't let it be one of them crazy 80-degree days and the humidity high. Like, yeah. But it don't really matter. You know, because at the day, it's Miami versus Miami. Yo, what up? What up? What up? You heard? What up? Yo, I don't know. It's Miami versus Miami. It's us versus us. And that's the approach we got to take. It's us versus us. You know what I'm saying? We can only beat ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Or we can aid in our self-destruction of a defeat, you know, by penalties, false starts, a personal foul on a late hit, undisciplined plays like that. You know what I'm saying? We can't have those undisciplined plays. But for the most part, we played. I mean, we played hard. We fought. You know what I'm saying? This game, and I'm telling my age, but I don't care because I'm proud of my age. But if we have any boxing fanatics or just boxing fans who can remember, do you remember the Marvis Hagler, RP to one of the greatest boxers ever? And shout out to another one of the greatest boxers ever, Thomas Hearns. Do y'all remember that fight when they fought that first round? That first round was probably one of the best first round in boxing history. How those two brothers were going at it. This was one of those games. Probably the best game we've seen in the playoffs in a long time. So I've give credit to Ole Miss. I'm gonna give them their flowers. I'm giving them flowers. Some of the things they did was aided by non-calls, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? They play hard, and I'm gonna give them props for that. Always respect your opponent. But yeah, bro, they were slugging. They came out from the bell just throwing haymakers at each other. Like, if y'all haven't seen that fight, YouTube it. Marvin Hagler versus Thomas Hearns, first round, and just watch how them dudes are throwing bombs at each other. That's how this game reminded me, because it was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But at the end, Miami asserted its dominance. What we do? We went on a 14-play drive to go ahead and finally take that when Carson Beck scored. 14-play drive. Them big boys up front said, yo, I'm going to put all y'all on our backs and just make the plays. We got you. Just watch it. Carson Beck was surgical, man. Surgical. You know what I'm saying? Surgical. You know? And I know somebody can say, you ain't say, I know some people thinking, yes, Dawson called some good plays on that drive. He did. He called some good plays on that drive. But he also called some bonehead plays in the middle of the game where I felt he didn't have to call. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have to do certain things or whatever. But it's neither here nor there. I ain't being negative. We in the Natty. You know what I'm saying? We in the Natty. Let me see. So if the coach can challenge the spot of the ball placement by a ref, why can't they challenge a bad call like PI, personal fouls, any flag? The refs have to get right to this. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I think, and I don't want to, and trust me, I'm not trying to get into the minds of these dudes who make these rules. But if you're able to challenge a PI call, that's going to slow up the game because everybody will be challenging a PI call. An obvious PI call, cats would challenge it, right? But yeah, bro, Dawson was wilding. You know what I'm saying? He was wilding. Heatherman was on this thing. I don't know if it was some blown coverages, but guess what? None of that matters because I ain't talking about it because we won the game. But you know, it was some in the slot when I saw Key come open, and I was from the alignment. I was like, yo, who's covering the slot? Right from the alignment, I was like, who's covering the slot? And as the play was developing, I saw the slot 1, 2, 3, 5 up and come across, and I was like, yo, who's covering the slot? And Trinidad threw it to the slot for a first down. And that, I think, that was the play that Lucas got ejected for targeting. And it was that play in particular. But I mean, Heatherman's been calling it up all year. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to Heatherman. You know what I'm saying? He's brought a different type of attitude to that side of the ball. That was missing. And I'm fortunate. I'm glad we have him. You know what I'm saying? And I'm appreciate him for however long we have him, whether it's for 2 more years, 3 years, a year, whatever. And honestly, I think next year our defense may be a little better because they all know the system. So he can add more stuff to the system. Right? Am I crazy for thinking that? Am I wrong for thinking that defense may be a little better next year? Even with losing some of the people we're losing? Like, am I wrong for thinking that? Let me know in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Thumbs up if you think the defense will be as good or better than next year, or thumbs down if you think it's going to take a step back, you know? But, yeah. It was something else. Wide receiver blocking has always been great. Wide receivers came up big, you know, CJ, Marion, Malley, Josh had a good catch. You know what I'm saying? I'm still high. I'm not high on my man number 1 on JoJo. You know what I'm saying? I want him to get that drop out his head. It happens. It's football, bro. It's football. It's gonna happen. Don't sweat it. You know what I'm saying? Got to rock my red, black, and green hat. You know. It's homemade. A client made this for me back in DC a long time ago. But it happens. You know what I'm saying? So don't even sweat that. You know, we got another game where you're gonna get another opportunity to perform and make big plays. You know what I'm saying? You know, the running game was the running game. Fletcher was Fletcher. Brown was Brown. And if you really watch Brown, you're gonna watch how strong, and you're gonna watch how his explosion. He has that explosion, that burst. You know, I think we were trying to go to the tight ends a lot this game. You know, I think we'd have probably went to him a little more if Lofton didn't get hurt. But, you know, hey, I forget the young man's name, number 87. You know, he played pretty well. He caught, you know, a couple passes. You know, he did have that one holding penalty with Brown. Had that nice run, but you know, remember, got to keep your hands inside, baby. Anything out, especially with them refs last night, they gonna call it. You know, so they gonna call it on us. But you know, man, McCoy and Pancake at guard, played great. Francis, what can I say? What can I say? Certified goon. Markel Bell, another one, certified goon. Like the offensive line, besides the and Cooper played good too. Cooper played good. He played really good. Shit, hell, he played very, very, very good. He's a certified goon. Just the two plays, the two false starts and the one play when Brockemeyer got beat across the face when we did the Malley Cat was like pretty much, what 3 plays that were really bad. But other than that, the offensive line has done what they've done all year. Just move people. Just what did Nick Saban say? Mass kicks what? Yeah. Mass kicks anus. And that's what they did, yo. And that's what they did. So moving forward, to the national championship game, no matter who we play, we're going to play a good team. But once again, those teams, to me, haven't played a team like us. I know the Indiana people will say, well, we played Ohio State. Yeah, but their D-line isn't like our D-line, period. And their O-line isn't like our O-line, right? And Oregon to say, well, we played Indiana. And I'm going to say what I would say to Indiana. Yeah, but their D-line and O-line isn't like our D-line and O-line, right? So the game's going to be won up in the trenches, and I think we got the better trenches out of both teams. So it's going to make for a good game, and we at home. But the wild part is we're going to be the away team. So let's stay in them stormtrooper uniforms, and we home. So we got to have the smoke. I don't care if we the away team or not. It's our home stadium. So we got to have that smoke. We got to have that smoke that we got to come through. But it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a storyline. It's going to be epic, bro. It's going to be like a Marvel movie. You remember how Endgame was and Infinity Wars? And now since Robert Downey Jr. is back as Dr. Doom in Avengers Doomsday, and that's going to be this national championship game, especially since it's in Miami. It's going to be epic. And we got opportunity to get our 6th, which should be our 7th. But we ain't gonna talk about that. We already know we should already have 6, but this should definitely be our seventh natty that we've obtained on the gridiron in football. But yeah, man. After the game, I felt good. I felt so good, bro. I felt so good that finally, over 20-something years, how Santana Moss felt when we beat Florida State. And he said, all the criticizing is over, all the losing, like, damn. And what he say? Big time players make big time plays in big time games. That's how I felt last night. Like, yo, all the criticizing, all the joking and the memes about Miami, all the side talk, all the negative recruiting that's been going on for 20 plus years. It's over. The quarterback Jalen Sands, whatever his name is, from Ohio State, when he came down on his 7-on-7 team, and Mike Rump was talking about, yeah, Tuscaloosa is cool on Saturday, but there ain't nothing to do during the week. And he kind of gave that smirk or whatever. Yeah, now you home watching that coach that gave that speech and watching that team play for a natty. Because what he said, he wasn't lying. It wasn't no shot. He was telling the truth. But all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? And what I don't understand when cats say, oh, I want to see what Miami do during this season. They don't say that. They don't say that with Florida State or Florida or some other teams. I want to see how they do. Well, now you're seeing how we do. And all those players that didn't believe in Coach Mario's vision when he laid out his plan, when he was sitting in your living room or you were sitting in his office, when he told you, this is the vision. This is where I expect us to be in year 4, year 5. And if y'all didn't believe it because y'all wanted to go to the already made team that's already been there. So you want to go and help them instead of coming and be a part of something special and being part of the foundation and building it. and becoming a legend, like the legends that were on the sidelines last night for UM, that's cool. More power to you. More power to you. Respect you. Respect goes out to you. You know what I'm saying? But the man had a vision. You know what I'm saying? The man had a vision. He's not a used car salesman. You know what I'm saying? He's not selling you a pipe dream. You know, just look at what he did. You know, a lot of Alabama success was because he was the head. He was number one in that recruiting department. He was second to Nick. He built a lot of those offensive lines. A lot of them players who went first round. Mario built that. Then he went to Oregon and took over a 4-something program. He built Oregon to what it is now, and then landed he's sustaining it, right? He comes back home, 5-7, blah, blah. Then the great Cam Ward comes. You know, we had a better defense. He'd have been in the playoffs. You know, Cam Ward set that foundation now for quarterbacks. If you're a quarterback, just think, we just had the number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward, UM record breaker, Carson Beck now, go to the Natty, will get drafted. Who's next? Who's next? What quarterback wants to come and be the next guy? Because once upon a time, we were quarterback you. Let's get back to that. We was wide receiver you. Let's get back to that. We was running back you. Let's get back to that. We were D lineman you. Let's get back to that. We was linebacker you. Let's get back to that. We were secondary you. Let's get back to that. So we were already that before they started having these names, linebacker you, all this other stuff. We were already that. We were the trendsetters. We're the trendsetters. We're the originators. Imitation is the best form of flattery, baby. You feel me? So it is what it is. But now, them young men are home, rested, moting. You should be in an ice bath. Messidor, ice bath right now. Bang, ice bath. Everybody should be thinking recovery. Taking care of your bodies. Taking care of your bodies right now. Getting healthy. OJ, Damani, get healthy. Recovery right now. Everybody that played in that game, you should be in recovery. On the way home on the plane, you should have them compression boots on your legs to get a lot of that actic acid out your legs. Recovery. See, I mean, you know, me personally, I can talk this football talk, this recovery, all this other stuff, because it's important. I know it. I put my boys through it. So recovery. Then it's back to work. Even the recovery part is still back to work, but film study. Them dudes sleeping in the indoor practice facility. Like, yo, that's dedication. That's like, yo, we got one mission. You know, we got one night only. January 19th, one night only to go ahead and go out here and be legendary and be stars and make your mark and become a Miami Hurricane legend forever. Because of the Coopers and the Messidors and the Paynes and all of them and everybody else, the Becks and the Fletchers and the Tonys and the Keontaes and the Jacobys and the Poisons and the O'Connells and all of them and the Coopers and the Bells and the Fran, everybody who believed, the Browns, the whole team, everybody who believed in Mario's message. Y'all got opportunity to say we were the foundation to help us get back to the upper echelon of college football. And the standard better not ever drop. And don't allow young dudes to come in here who haven't learned nothing to go just through the motions. Because if they do, it's your responsibility, the guys that are coming back, to put foot to ass, pardon my French, to put foot to tail and get them dudes right, to let them know where y'all once were, 5-7, to where we are now and to where we want to continue to be. Simple. We can't go backwards. Yeah, like the Sankofa bird. The Sankofa bird is a bird whose neck is turned backwards, the head is turned backwards because it says, remember the past.
because you can't be successful in the future if you don't remember the past. Remember the past. Remember the struggle. Remember the struggle and all the hard work that y'all put in to get you to this point. I'm not that person to say, I'm not going to go back to the past. No, you go back to the past because you learn from the past. You learn from the things that was done wrong or incorrectly, and you learn from the things that were done right, that was done correctly. It's always lessons to be learned from those who done it before you. Always. Because it makes you appreciate the here and now that much more. So when them players that was here that came, that pledged to Mario after a 5-7 season, it didn't win right away. It makes last night that much sweeter, bro. That's right, the Sankofa bird. It makes last night that much sweeter. And like Bang said last week, they don't want it like us. But no team that's in the playoffs this whole year has been through what Miami's been through over the past 20 years. Or let's say the past 4 years since Mario has gotten here. It's a standard. It's a standard that was created before them, before these dudes on this team was even born. It was a standard that was created. Coach Snellenberger, then Coach Johnson, then Coach Erickson. They established that. Coker maintained it with them Butch Davis. It failed, and Butch Davis resurrected it. Coker stabilized it, maintained it for a degree. Then it failed. Randy tried. Then it failed. Golden, it failed. Mark, it was up and down. Manny, it was, it was okay. Whatever, I guess. Right? Mario, first couple years, he had a plan, he had a mission, he had a vision. He had a vision. And it's here now. That vision of when he was a player that was established is here. We can't go back. We can look back and look at the trials and tribulations in the glory of what they've been through to get to this point. Because you appreciate the process a lot more, right? You appreciate the process a lot more when you see the struggle that it was, right? And last night, when them legends was on, because some of them legends, they struggled. Edwin James was on some of them bad teams. Reggie Wayne, right? They was on some of them teams. But then there was also some of the teams that, helped bring this thing. That 98 team, then that 99, then 2000. We know the rest is history. But we had some dudes that was on some of them glory teams, that won Natty. So it just makes it that much sweeter last night, man, just to know where we were 20 years ago up until this point. The laughing stock of college football, right? We was the laughing stock of college football. Now, we the talk of college football. Some good, some bad. We got some people out there that fake like us. You know what I'm saying? But we got some people out there that's been 10 toes down for us, since day one. Like Desmond Howard. Desmond Howard been 10 toes down for Miami from day one. You know what I'm saying? 10 toes down from day one. He never wavered. And when he was critical of Miami, it was just and it was fair. It wasn't mustered or conjured to try to create a narrative, right? Desmond has been spot on with Miami. He's been 10 toes down from day one. And that's why I respect that brother, Desmond Howard. Always show love. And yeah, he lived down there. He go to practice and all this other stuff, 10 toes down. But like I said, it's bro, it feels good, family, don't it? It feels good, yo. It feels good to know, like, yo, you could walk outside and not saying that some of y'all didn't, because I used to walk outside, be at games when I coached in DC, talk my issue about my Canes, and it was always, yeah, but y'all ain't going to no Natty. Y'all, da da da. I didn't care, but I still talk my ish. Now I can talk my ish and say, yeah, and we going to the Natty, and we playing it at home. What? So, Pedro, who you want as our quarterback next year? Porter or in house? We have some good in the class. Quarterback. What you think, bro? Pedro in here? What up, Fresh? Get some of these comments. Man. Yeah, I saw French is in the portal. I don't know if we're gonna touch him or not. But I don't know. I'm not an insider. So I don't claim to know nothing. I don't get that information. That's above my pay grade. Oh yeah, Miami is the underdog next Monday. It's like 2.5 to Oregon and like 3.5 or whatever, or 5.5 against Indiana or whatever. But that's cool. I like that role. I don't mind. I like playing that role. I like being an underdog role. So it's all good. Oh, what's up, bro? I didn't even see you. Oh, my bad, bro. My bad, bro. Forgive me. But guess what? I don't care. Forget all of that. We're in the national championship. All that you heard, all you talking. We're in the Natty, baby. Monday night, January 19th. It's on and popping. Forget all the other stuff people talking about. We are in the Natty. That's a little inside thing. My brother Pedro, he know. I normally get a little more wild with it, but I got to be a distinguished gentleman up here. I got to be distinguished, Got to have proper etiquette, Got to have proper etiquette. I want them to know us Miami fans are sophisticated men, we sophisticated men, and we know how to talk proper in public and give interviews and things like that. So pardon me. Let me get my distinguished gentleman back on for y'all. But no, we just here having fun, man. We've been here for an hour, and I appreciate y'all. I know it's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a strong beat to step to. Yeah, Joe, you know what that is. Yeah, you know what that is. Cause the storm warning, we ain't no joke. We used to let the mic smoke. I slam it and make sure it's broke. You feel me? But no. But we definitely gonna, me and my brother, me and Groove, we're gonna hit y'all with a couple videos leading up to the game. And me personally, I'm probably not the best person to do like a live reaction video, like watching the game. Like I'm probably not the best person because we get turned up in here. Like me and my boys, like we get wild. Like you would think we playing the game. The IMAX, you got that's right, the God MC, yeah. But no, I am definitely not the best person, and I'm admitting it. I'm not the best person to do a live reaction show, watching the game live, because I get wild, baby. That tri-state Northeast in me, it come out. It come out. I get wild. My boys get wild. They look that Southeast DC in them. And partially in me, since I was there for so long, Southeast representing, Southeast Congress Heights, you know what I'm saying? MLK, Malcolm X, and Acacia area, whole DC, shouts out to them, you know what I'm saying? They made my boys what they are, you know what I'm saying? Always going to give respect to the Southeast DC, you know what I'm saying? That's my boys' hometown. We shout them out. Southeast DC, love you. You know what I'm saying? Love you. But I'm definitely not I'm not the guy. Because like I said, it get wild in here, bro. And I know my neighbors be like, yo, he over there wilding. But it's just raw tree emotion. And maybe, I don't know, maybe that's something to think about in the near future. You know what I'm saying? So y'all can kind of see how Black is doing a game. I'm wilding. But I be saying some stuff. So some of that stuff I gotta keep in the confines of my surroundings, because it gets live over here. But respect to those who do it though. Respect to those who do it. Me, I just don't. I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I mean? So I just can't do it. But you know, we in the national championship, fellas. We in the Natty. And I know it looked at bleak when we dropped in 2 games, and you know, we thought we was going to the Pop-Tart Bowl and you know, not seeing Messidor and Band and them dudes play no more. And you know, shouts out to the committee for doing the right thing. And now it looked like that committee was right by doing the right thing, by selecting Miami in the CFP, which we earn and deserve because we beat Notre Dame head to head, right? Who beat Notre Dame head to head. Now we got to go beat another. We got to go beat another team from a conference that they like. You know what I'm saying? From a conference that we like. I wonder if that was Big Ten referees last night. We're interested if that was Big Ten referees last night, because that would explain a lot. But that's neither here nor there, because it didn't matter. But yeah, like I was saying, we're gonna try to give y'all a couple shows leading up to this national championship game. You know what I'm saying? We may try to collaborate with a couple cats who already got shows and, you know, do something, collaborate with them. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna probably reach out to my man Joe, see if you heard the Storm Warner one, you know, do an episode together or something like that, you know. But Storm Warner in itself, we definitely gonna give y'all a couple shows. You know what I'm saying? We got, you know, get back in these algorithms, because we know we got a lot of Storm Warner fans that's been asking Groove and myself, yo, when we gonna do a show. Like I said, life been lifing, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's been crazy over here for me personally. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things been going on for Black. You know, some good, some bad, whatever. And you know, my man's the father. He's the new father, so he been lifing with his son and his with his queen. So you know, we definitely gonna find time to give y'all what y'all want, and that's a show, because y'all been instrumental in the growth of this channel, and we appreciate y'all from day one. Just, you know, like, subscribe, get this thing up. You know what I'm saying? We try to get the subscribers up. You know. And that can only happen if we give y'all shows. So we're gonna do our part. We need y'all to do your part. Tell Kane that, yo, we in the national championship game, and the heck with what you heard. The heck with Joey Galloway or hating on Miami self. You look like he was ready to cry when we got selected into the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? How can that be? Notre Dame, Miami lost. That was the early game. Notre Dame has clearly been the best team. How can you put Miami in the... Shut up. You're crying. Stop whining. Stop it. And now you sitting up here talking about, oh, I'm not a Miami. Yes, you are. You don't like Miami. All season, you've been throwing jabs at Miami. All season, you've been throwing jabs at Miami. You know, and then when you had an opportunity to stand on that, when Coach Mario was on your show, you backpedaled real fast. So, you know, hey, it's a Friday. I want y'all to enjoy your day. I want y'all to enjoy your weekend. Watch the game tonight. Watch it. It's football. Watch it. And like me, I'm watching the game. I'm at ease because I know my team is in the show. We going to the ship. 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 So you can watch the game and be at ease, like it don't matter because we're there. You don't have to watch the game and be like, man, we could be one of these teams only if. Nah, you can watch the game and be proud. Yes, I even text Zoe. No response. So, yeah, man, watch the game tonight. Enjoy, you know, whatever your favorite beverage of choice is. I remember on the Miami Mayhem show, I told him I was going to get a root beer last night because I'm not really a drinker. You know what I'm saying? So I went and got my A&W root beer. I mean, you know, this is some advertisement for them. You see this A&W root beer, hit me up. You know what I'm saying? You know, at A Black Storm Warner on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? That Coach A, You know what I'm saying? coacha.2124@gmail.com. Hit me up for some sponsorship right there. You know what I'm saying? And double root beer. I'm supporting you. I have this next Monday night too, you know, on the 19th, you know, as Watch My Cane fan. So just gave y'all some free a plug right there. Hopefully YouTube won't be upset with that. I'm not sure the rules. Hopefully YouTube, you know, I didn't know if I ain't supposed to do that. Please just let us know, and I won't do it no more. But you know, it's all a lot of love. But yeah, y'all be safe. Enjoy your weekend. Watch the game tonight. And just remember, yo, hey, pop your collars, walk proud, because that you is back where we belong in the national championship. So like, subscribe, hit your post notification bell so you can be alerted when we going live. And like I said, fam, and yes, we are playing at home, and that's what makes it even much sweeter. That me and Groove, we're gonna hit y'all with a couple shows leading up to the national championship. I'll probably come up here and do a couple more A-Black thoughts, you know, just giving my opinions. And yeah, man, we gotta get back into the algorithms, get back on. So, you know, because we got a lot of, like I said, a lot of Storm Warner fans that love me and my brother Groove. So once again, it's all about the you.